Hi everyone. On the Christmas forums there's been some discussion about using various power supplies to power Pixels, and the subject of using an old CB style power supply, one for ham radio or CB use to power 12 volt Pixels. Would that be suitable? The answer is maybe, and it depends. It's not a lot of current because Pixels these days can, typical installation's quite a lot of Pixels, so 12 volts at, say, this one's rated at 5 amps, this power supply. It's not a huge amount, so that's only, 60 watts worth of Pixels, and this is a pretty big old power supply. You could buy a modern switch mode little power supply brick for not a lot of money these days. Even a genuine Meanwell one's not going to cost you that much, and it's going to be preset to exactly 12 volts and a lot more reliable probably, and generate a lot less heat than this old thing. So you see at the moment here it's drawing, I'm not drawing any current yet from it, and the voltage I've already trimmed it down to pretty much 12 volts. So there's a little trim control down there, so we just rotate that. See there, it's moving, that little wiper arm. Originally when I powered this up, even though it's clearly got written there, output 12 volts DC 5 amps written there, originally when I powered this up with no load, it was up pretty much close to 14 volts. So if I just trim that back to where it was when I originally got it, so it's pretty much there. I'll turn the load on. Starting to drop down in voltage. We're drawing about 3 amps. So I'll just turn that load off again for a second. So we'll adjust this down. Sorry, it's got a bit of shine on the screen there. We'll adjust that down to 12 volts. And the reason it's dropping so easily there is this is an old linear regulator design, and it hasn't got a lot of headroom. Those capacitors are probably, they are very old, so they might not be full capacitance anymore, so it's not doing so well. Let's have a look. Trim it down to pretty much 12 volts. It's close enough. It's within the accuracy of the meter there. So it's 12 volts, drawing no current. So what we'll do is we'll turn the load on. And we're now drawing 2.6 amps, so a bit of roughly half the rated current, and it's dropped to 11.9, so that's not too bad. A little bit of voltage drop in those leads, etc., so that's not too bad. So we'll increase the current a bit. So just 3.7 amps, and it's dropped 11.87, so still not too bad actually. We'll increase the load a bit more, and it's dropped to 11.8, so that's perfectly acceptable. That's drawing pretty close to the rated current there now. So it's not too bad. Now this is the dummy load that I'm using. This is at my workshop. So it's used for normally testing the output of audio amplifiers. So I've got a couple of the fan forced going past non-inductive resistors that are inside those little tunnels there. So that's what we use for audio testing here. So we can load amplifiers up without having to play them loud in the workshop. We can just run them up and test them that way. So and look at the output on this little scope. So that's what I'm using. So again, it's nearly the rated current, and it's dropped down to 11.8 volts. That's actually not too bad, but yeah, not a particularly efficient way to do it. I guess you could use it at a pinch to power some Pixels to get you out of trouble, but it's not going to power certainly a whole display. It's pretty old and clunky, so not exactly something I'd recommend. One of the new little brick type ones, switch mode power supply is only going to be a fraction of that size. It's sort of only going to be half that front panel in size by sort of that thick sort of thing. Would put out probably 10 amps, so you get a 120 watt plug pack for $20 or $30 off eBay, or if you want to buy a genuine Meanwell one, that would be better, I guess. But even drawing 5 amps there, nearly 5 amps, I can actually start to smell things getting warm there. Those transistors on the back, so on the heatsink there. So it's actually quite warm. So yeah, probably not something you'd use in your display, but at a pinch, if you had one of these lying around and you adjusted it down, if it's got an adjustment like that one has. I mean, this is quite old. This is probably, 30 years old or whatever, this power supply, and it still works. So, but just not really up with modern times and modern technology. So the power to weight ratio is quite poor on it. So anyway, just thought it would be interesting seeing one of these just happened to come in. A customer dropped in something else to fix, and someone had given it to him and he didn't want it. So I thought I might make it an interesting video just to show what's inside an old linear power supply.